Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we're going to talk about basically a guide to how you can obtain as many Chrono Crystals as possible during the current celebration, and some tips and tricks for players who maybe don't know some additional sources where they can get Chrono Crystals. Now obviously the best way to get Chrono Crystals is to buy them, but I can't do that and neither can you probably, so let's look at how you can get them. The first and the easiest way is going to be to just grind ridiculously hard in raid and grab yourself enough Legends Festival medals to get 3,000 Chrono Crystals. This is a very intense grind, but obviously if you complete it throughout the event you should end up with a pretty decent chunk. Now speaking of raids, raids drop a decent chunk of Chrono Crystals themselves. Raids each drop 700 Chrono Crystals, and the raid honors that you get also drop 400 throughout the course of the celebration. The raids are back to back to back, so each raid will drop 700 and you will just need to farm the raid medals to obtain them. For the raid honors, that will be a bit slower, but you can still get some decent Chrono Crystals there, a little bit of a nice 400 little booster that you can get by completing the missions by obtaining raid honors. So yeah, pretty good stuff. Next, of course, we have one of the easier ways in the forms of bouquets. Now bouquets are a steady grind. You get 3 per day if you do 3, or you clear your 3 chests from training battle, and you can exchange these in a step up like summon for the little kind of blessed treasure bouquet exchange shop, and you can get 1,000 Chrono Crystals this way. It's a more steady grind, not really one you can just outright do, but it is still pretty helpful and a great way to get some Chrono Crystals. The next one is a grind that you can just do, and this one is PvP. The PvP dual medals can be exchanged for a variety of great rewards, notwithstanding 1,000 Chrono Crystals, and you also get rewards for your ranking as well. So there's double, kind of double jeopardy here. By getting the raid medals and farming them, you will push your ranking up, and by getting a higher ranking when the season ends halfway through the celebration, you'll grab yourself some good Chrono Crystals as well. There's 1,000 to obtain here, and you can farm these pretty much within a day or two, so it's a pretty good source for immediate Chrono Crystals if you're someone who's struggling. However, the ranking rewards will only be given out later on. The next super kind of easy way to obtain medals is going to be the Tuesday medals. This is a super passive way, but essentially you get one of these Tuesday Legends medals every single Tuesday. It is automatically given to you upon logging in on a Tuesday, and you just need to collect it from your gift box. Now you get 200 from the missions, but you can also exchange 2 of the Legends Tuesday medals for Chrono Crystals. You get 8 in total, but I would rather get the Legends Limited Z-Bar over just getting 800 Chrono Crystals, but it's going to depend on you, depending on what you want to summon with or what you want to use the Z-Power on. So Legends Tuesday medals are a pretty good source, but there's still even more missions that can net us some pretty good rewards. We have things like the 2000 day missions, which give us 500 Chrono Crystals and are fairly simple, requiring you just to complete some events with category based characters, which is all really solid stuff. Then of course, alongside that, we also have the Tournament of Power. The Tournament of Power is another passive way to obtain a pretty decent chunk of Chrono Crystals. Not only do you get Chrono Crystals from the missions for Tournament of Power, which obviously gives you 100, but you actually also get Chrono Crystals when the Tournament of Power ends. So pushing your ranking and getting into a higher group in the Tournament of Power will net you some more Chrono Crystals, which at the end of the day is something that's pretty important. At least, from my perspective. Then, alongside that, or aside from the Tournament of Power, we also have the Hoi Poi Capsule event. Now, the Hoi Poi Capsule event is pretty straightforward. You can grab yourself some pretty decent rewards just by simply clearing the Hoi Poi Capsule event and by farming Hoi Poi Capsules. These can be obtained from pretty much any stage under the upgrade section and under the story section. You also have your battle plan, which of course allows you to grab Chrono Crystals as you play the game, and since it's Legends Fest, it's about time that you play the game a lot. So you should go for the highest plan and net yourself the most Chrono Crystals possible. There's around 600 there. And although you don't get Chrono Crystals from the Hoi Poi rewards, It is the missions that are super important and the steps as well. Legends ranking is also offering double rewards, so pushing your Legends rank is also going to be a very good way to grab yourself some mid-season Chrono Crystals, so keep an eye on that. Now we talk about some of the other methods to obtain Chrono Crystals and making sure that players can stay on top of things. The first is Story Mode. Story Mode has kind of a double-centric place to obtain Chrono Crystals. Firstly, clearing new stages and clearing challenges gives you Chrono Crystals. If you haven't done the story in a while, there's probably around 600 or 800 Chrono Crystals here, just because you've missed a couple parts. Remember, you can get like 30 Chrono Crystals per stage, so they add up after a while. On top of that as well, while you're working on story, you're going to want to work on your character's friendship. If you want to know how to boost that, I will leave a link in the top right hand corner. But boosting friendship also forms part of the special missions, which will double up with clearing the story. The Legend special missions give quite a fair chunk of Chrono Crystals, which you can see here, so it's definitely a great incentive for you to obviously go out and try and farm as many Chrono Crystals as possible. So farming those stages and clearing them will net you some double rewards. You get from the friendship ranking up, the actual Chrono Crystals from clearing the missions, and you can start to complete the more Legends missions as well. The other way, and this is more for newer players, is to soul boost your characters. If you're a new player and soul boosting your characters, you will net yourself a huge amount of Chrono Crystals just by soul boosting all of your characters. There are Z missions for the amount of characters that have been soul boosted, and soul boosting these characters is a fairly easy, although somewhat expensive process. By soul boosting as many characters as possible, you'll complete a ton of these Z missions, and you can net yourself thousands of Chrono Crystals this way. It's one of the easiest ways to farm Chrono Crystals as a new player. Alongside that, in these Z missions, we also need to take a look at the equipment. Equipment provides the exact same thing as soul boosting. The process is a little bit different, so I'll leave links to both of them so you can have a bit more of an in-depth guide. But on the equipment side, you basically want to choose a unique equip, one that is a character-specific unique equip. For example, we're going to be using the Legends Road Goku, who obviously has a pretty nice one. These are heavily weighted on the third slot, so if we keep re-upgrading the second slot, we will easily upgrade this gear, or keep re-upgrading it between Z, Z+, and God rank. What this does is this, every time it re-upgrades, fulfills the mission to upgrade a piece of gear to Z rank or higher, which means we're basically slowly knocking out the gear upgrade missions. Now, of course, this is expensive and not something for new players, but it is another way that you can grab yourself some Chrono Crystals. If you push this as much as you can, you should be able to grab a couple hundred from this as well. So it's a pretty good method and relatively easy to do. But yeah, that's basically going to be it from me. Honestly, I hope this gives you guys a good idea. The final thing I do want to basically mention, at least when it comes to farming Chrono Crystals, is that you should look at other events like Legends Road events, the special events for the Exterminate All Saiyans, and just any of the Zero Mortal Plans, etc. events that are there under the special tab. That's it from me. Bye.